You may launch processes directly in the background by postfixing them with an ampersand. Example, PS ampersand. Let's say that I want to launch a process directly in the background. To do that, all I need to do is postfix it with the ampersand. Now again, if I'm moving it back and forth between the foreground and the background, I prefix it with the %. But if I launch the process and I postfix it with the ampersand instead of prefixing it with the %, it would simply start in the background. So in other words, to do that, let's say I was going to do foo1, and if I pass in the ampersand, then there's the process ID, so there's jobs. And I could do the same thing with foo2. Foo2, use the ampersand and launch that in the background. And again, if I use the jobs command, there's job 1 and job 2. And the same rules apply where if I wanted to bring it to the foreground, I'll bring job 1 to the foreground. So it would be the % symbol, and prefix it, and then the job ID, and I could do Control C and stop the process. And now if I do jobs, I only have 2 running in the background. And if I wanted to bring 2 to the back to the foreground, again it would be foreground % and the job ID 2, and I could stop the process. And now I have no jobs running. The nohup command allows executing a background process even when the user logs off the system. Another useful command to use with foreground and background processes is the nohup command. And what that'll let you do is you can launch a process in the background. And let's say you want to log out and go to lunch somewhere. You don't want to really leave your system open. You want to be able to kind of log out and lock down the terminal, but maybe you don't want the particular background process to stop. You want it to keep executing or running in the background. Maybe it's like a batch process or something. So what I would do is I would prefix the command with nohup, and let's say I'm going to do foo2. Foo2, and I'll use the ampersand to launch it in the background. And remember that particular command, what it does is it simply pings Google. So I'm going to go ahead and exit, and I'm going to log out, and say we'll go to lunch. So my terminal is locked and it's running in the background. So now I come back from lunch and I open up my terminal. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And remember that script file, what it did is it pretty much just called the ping command. So if nohup works the way it's supposed to, it should still be running in the background. I'm going to go ahead and grep for that process. So I logged out, locked my terminal, went to lunch, I came back, PSAUX, I'm going to go ahead and grep for the ping command that's in that script file. And notice there it is, it's still pinging Google. Poor Google. At least we give Google a break here and bring it back to the foreground. So I could either kill that process by the PID here, so I could kill 4933, or if I wanted to, I could bring it back to the foreground. So in this case, I'm just going to kill 4933, and if I list my running processes, now I'm no longer pinging Google. So just an example of the nohup command and an example of altering the default priorities. The top command, a looping interactive process manager that displays processes ordered by CPU utilization. It can find row processes, kill processes, or change their priority. Let me open a command prompt and let me zoom in. And I just want to run the top command. And when I type top, notice that it gives me a list of processes ordered by the percentage of the CPU that they're using. And this is a nice tool to give you real-time output, so to speak, and feedback as far as processes running on your system. Here's some man page. There are many different options and things you can use top to both view, monitor, and control processes. In summary, we've looked at many Linux command line tools to manage and manipulate processes. Unlike their GUI counterparts, these tools are pretty much standard and available in all flavors of Linux, be they Ubuntu, Fedora, SUSE, you name it. True, in addition to the command line tools we've examined in this 5-part series, there are many free open source GUI tools that offer many of the same capabilities. But that is a tale to be told at another time, and in many different ways for many different flavors of Linux.